Once upon a time, in a meadow full of flowers and trees, lived an ant who was very, very small. He was so small that he could crawl under blades of grass and sneak into the anthills without being seen. But our little ant had big dreams. He didn't want to be just a tiny ant. He wanted to be a giant. Every day he would look up at the towering trees and wish he could climb to the top and see what it was like up there. One day he was carrying a crumb bigger than himself, and he came across a spider who was hanging from a leaf. "Excuse me," said the ant, "but do you know how to become a giant?" The spider looked at him and said, "Why do you want to be a giant? You're perfect the way you are." But the ant insisted, "No, I want to be big and strong like those trees. Do you know how I can do it?" The spider thought for a moment. "Well, if you really want to be a giant, then you need to eat a magic bean." The ant was very excited. "A magic bean? Where can I find one?" The spider pointed to a nearby bush. "There's a beanstalk growing over there. If you climb up it, you'll find a giant bean at the top, and that will make you a giant too." So the ant thanked the spider and set off to find the beanstalk. It was easy to find. All the ants in his colony were looking for it because they all wanted to become giants. After what seemed like hours of climbing, the ant finally reached the top of the beanstalk. There he saw the biggest, juiciest bean he had ever seen. It was red and almost as big as the ant himself. The ant was so happy. He started to eat the bean, and it tasted delicious. As he ate, he felt himself growing bigger and bigger. Soon he was so big that he wasn't an ant anymore. He was a giant. The ant, now a giant, looked around and saw that he was in a magical land. There were flowers everywhere, and in the distance, he could see a beautiful castle made out of sugar cubes and chocolate. "Wow," he said, "this place is amazing." He started to walk towards the castle when suddenly a loud voice boomed, "Who's there?" The giant looked around and saw a huge man with arms as thick as tree trunks and legs like pillars. Hello," said the giant nervously. "My name is Anthony." "Anthony, is that your real name?" The man laughed. "Of course it is." "Well, Anthony, welcome to my castle." The man extended his hand and introduced himself. "I'm the Bean Giant. Come, let me show you around." The two became best friends, and the giant learned that the Bean Giant was once a tiny ant who ate a magic bean just like him. From that day on, the giant visited the Bean Giant whenever he felt like a tiny ant again. And that's why, my friends, it's important to remember that even if you feel small, you can achieve anything you set your mind to.